Hello again. Let's see. Um, yeah, I did a little bit of coding here, and I'm a little bit disappointed, I guess, because I thought it would be able to just reason about this. So I'm asking it something. It creates that suggested list. But when I ask it to ask it something, it's not able to. It just creates a new um, list of user stories, so it doesn't behave like it would normally do with pure text. And I'm wondering if I have a bug, or if it's because I'm actually generating JSON here. That's why it doesn't keep it up to date, or it's because of my instructions. Uh, please each user should follow from. Yeah. Um, I'm gonna try one thing. So this is based on that it just doesn't have good enough instructions or prompt. Ensure that you always update the existing list of user stories. So I'm just wondering if it just needs to know that it should update the existing list instead of like suggesting new user stories. But I find it puzzling. So what we're gonna do is, if this doesn't do anything, we're gonna try to not have JSON and just see if it behaves differently, because that would expose if we actually have a bug. I think. So let's see. So I want the tasks to be persisted. And it's also like doing the function call again, which I don't understand. But looking at the input, like it does have the context, it seems, from the previous one. So that's discouraging. I thought that would be what we would gain from having a thread per agent, is that it would kind of have that context window and be able to reason about updates to the conversation. But we are generate response. So it would just be state. This is the actual response. So we're not going to do this anymore. It didn't help. So we're just going to have these things, and then to make it run, we just have to make this empty array. Okay, and then in our user stories flow, let's just do this. Let's see. Idea. So now it does that. What would also be interesting here is like maybe we should have a conversation, and then when we approve, we send this JSON message. So JSON, oh, this is interesting. So JSON, if so, if you, I'm not all there today. And I've been talking a lot today, and I feel like I'm sweating. Like I think I have a fever. So, anyways, I think this is a good idea. So JSON doesn't represent the general response. Like it's just a conversation. but you can choose to generate JSON. So you would have a method to generate JSON. So what it does is it doesn't take your current prompt, it takes the context of the thread and produces a JSON output. I really like that idea, because then you can have a natural conversation with it, and then when you approve, we actually call JSON on the thread, and it will produce that list of user stories. View for front end, tail and CSS. Where's this coming from? Yeah, I guess it's coming from reading the application features description. Yeah, so this is the problem again, because when we don't have enough structure, like we had just the user stories, it will like put in stuff we don't necessarily want there. I don't want it to. So we can use Firebase for data storage. That's great. View for the front end work. Like this doesn't make any sense. Like I don't want the user to be concerned by that. And then let's proceed with setting up. Like I don't like this, and this is why I added that structure, so that I control the user experience. Now that user experience becomes so ambiguous and unpredictable. So, but let's. I would like to persist tasks in Firebase. So I wonder now if it actually kind of updates. Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, this is really bad. This is not what I wanted at all. So it's not iterating on the user stories. Okay, what should we do? So what I want is, I want to structure reliable, predictable experience. The problem is that when I use JSON, it's not keeping the state. So we're going to try something else. This was just horrible. This didn't work. What we're going to try is we're going to bring back the input, and the input would be the current user stories. But how does this work? So I'm so often confused by what's actually happening, because I'm sending a prompt in. Oh yeah, because I put it into the thingy. Yeah. Like I'm thinking I should always have access to the actual prompt here. That's the thing. It's almost like, this is what confuses me. It's like, maybe we can make this better by, okay, so now I'm diverging. But what I think here is, when we generate a prompt, we should always have a prompt on this input. So I should extend, it shouldn't be anything. It should extend prompt. You always have the prompt, but you can choose to extend it with custom things. But that's the thing, like you don't always have a prompt. You might have an agent that just tells another agent something. So having that input, yeah, I can't find the proper abstraction for this, because sometimes you actually have a prompt, sometimes you don't have a prompt. And And I can't quite figure out how I want to do this. Anyways, we can fix this by... So this didn't work, but what if we actually pass in the user stories? So we're gonna say that the input here is it's the actual prompt, and then user stories. And then we're gonna say input.prompt, and then if input.user stories length, we're gonna return with the following user stories, and let's do input. So this is interesting. I would expect this to be handled like it's part of the context window, so I'm not sure why it doesn't understand this. User story should really have some helpers for join. Oh my god, have some helpers for this. Yeah, or it should just be input prompt. So what we're gonna do is in the workspace run agent. Where are you? Wait, where are we actually running the... Oh, sorry, prompt agent. Product manager. Oh yeah, I removed that. Oh, come on. Prompt agent. We actually had he extends what did I do? How did I get this? How did I get the input? Oh, I can't remember. Let me look at that change. Agents flow, agents router, prompt agent. There we go. Oh, it was that complicated. Okay. So we have... Oh, wait. What the hell? Agent prompt. Agent prompt. Prompt agent. God damn it. Prompt agent. Oh, of course. It's just me messing it up. So we have the input, and that's what we're passing here. Cool. And now we get an error here because we're not passing the... So that would be message, and user stories would be... yeah. Pending, it would be state.user stories.data or empty, and then we have to update where there we go. Okay, so now we explicitly put the user stories into the prompt. Let's see if it actually updates it. The point is we want a natural conversation about updating the user stories, but it shouldn't suggest new ones. It should just keep updating the initially suggested ones. Okay. What did it actually generate now? Oh, sorry. What's this one? Yeah, this is just a feedback thing. We can change that. I would like the tasks to be persisted in Firebase, Firestore. Yeah, this is interesting. At least it kept the thingy now. So what if I say, oh, I forgot to add the prompt, input.prompt. Let's see. So that is interesting, but it makes me like, damn, we lost the benefit of having that context window. That annoys me. That really annoys me, because then it's just more expensive than using, I would like to use Firebase, Firestore to persist the tasks. Why didn't it? Oh, interesting. Oh, how should the Firestore database be structured? Okay, well, this is interesting because now it can actually ask about things. This is very interesting. How should the Firestore database be structured to persist the tasks? It's a good question. Yeah, so this means we can now, okay, so I see the benefit again now. Now we can have an actual conversation. Because now it asks me, how should the Firestore database be structured to persist the tasks? And then I can like answer that. But it's, yeah. Oh, it's so interesting. Because here I'm like, I have a product manager and it shouldn't ask these questions. Like, I'm a freaking user. I don't know how to structure. The point is, I just want it to be stored. And in the context of a user story, that's not important. So it doesn't do what I want. But let's just try having the conversation. It should have a description. It should have the task should have a description. Yeah, the task should only have a description. I'm wondering. Yeah, no, this is not working at all. And it's just super expensive. Like, not like in price, but in tokens. Like, the reason I want a context window is to have a natural conversation about something. But without the structure, it's just too ambiguous and too unreliable. And even with the structure now, it can just having a natural conversation. Like, it's so interesting. Side effect of adding this predictable structure of the user stories and only using those to communicate created like this kind of locked it down, kind of thing. Yeah, I find this fascinating. And now it's not like, it doesn't seem to understand like I'm answering this. Yeah, this doesn't quite make sense. So I really like the idea of generating JSON after the conversation is done. What was the problem there? Yeah, it just went way off. Started talking about view, let next step is to do this. I know the next steps. But that could maybe be an approach. Like, what if you use prompt engineering to like make it not go out of bounds? Like, just focus on the user stories. And then when you click approve, you just tell it, based on the current conversation, give me the user stories. And then those will be the user stories. And then you can still change them, but that's not a discussion with the agent anymore. That's just you updating the user stories. I'm not sure. Yeah, but I want to try it. So let's go back to removing JSON. And the input. This is so interesting. So for an engineer, it would make sense to like to kind of have these questions asked. But yeah, I guess I'm not really being that clear about. Was there any more? Yeah. Let me just comment that out. And then prompt agent, let's comment that out, and then we'll use the prompt here instead. Prompt. And here we're gonna just have this. What did I do? I messed up. Okay, I don't want to look into that. Yeah, oh, sorry. We need to change the. So, as a product manager, you will suggest and assist developing user for a new feature to be introduced in not our in our web application. As a consultant and as a product manager in a consultant team, you will a customer, you will suggest, you will assist a customer developing user story for a new feature in their web application based on their user needs and behavior. You don't expect outcomes for this feature. Each user should follow. Okay, so it's important that it knows that the user is like a customer. Like the product manager is part of a consultancy team. This is the whole idea of the app. It's like you're getting why does it say this? Let's proceed. The customer your only goal is to create user stories. I'm very curious why it kind of goes off like that. I'm also confused by the instructions, because now I'm only adding the instructions as part of the first thread message. To implement this interface, we will use Firebase for data storage, Vue for front. That's fine. That is fine. But let's try now. Okay, so this is interesting. I would also like to toggle a task being completed. Okay, this is fine. The question now, if I click approve and I tell it to run JSON, would it then, what would the user stories be? Please give me a summary of the user stories. That's nice. So this is like very likely what it would create by approving. But it did not. We will use Firebase for data storage. It didn't include that in the user stories. That's interesting. But I do think that there's some. There is something to this. Like now it doesn't read the application structure again. Like I like this. I think we're doing something right here. It's just a different path and it requires some iterations. So one thing I don't like is it's kind of hidden what the actual user stories are. But you can ask for it. If you're unsure. What I don't like also is that you can't edit them. You can't like, no, I don't want this one, and then just rewrite it. That's also a bad thing. So I really like to have that JSON output, but it doesn't seem like you can have the same level of conversation doing that. So to be able to like have both, I think it needs to be function calling. That is an interesting conclusion though. So to have a natural conversation while having structured data, that's how you do. The only way to achieve that is with function calling. JSON output is more. Okay, so we're going to try that now. And we can just do it. Should be quite straightforward. So let's do how do I do it? So let's add a func update. So it shouldn't be update because we always want a full set of user stories. So maybe we could call it can maybe call it Save user stories. And that func takes, I guess, user stories, and that's an array of string. It's a list of user stories. User story. And we always need to pass user stories. Hey! Hi, Adam. A function that saves the user stories. Saves the user stories. You just dropping by, Adam, or how are you doing? Let's see, save user stories. And now we're gonna change this so that when the product manager has save user stories, we should see that user stories parameters. I thought it was only the, don't I send only the parameters in there? I think I do. Parameters CB. Oh no, I send everything in. We don't need that. We only need the parameters. Function call results. We need to change that. Parameters. Workspace. User stories. Oh yeah, no worries on the emails. B-ball, is that like some Australian type of ball game, or is it actual basketball? Oh. This state flows. Oh my god. User stories. It is basketball. Great. Did you win? Or isn't it about winning? Let's see. User stories. Status, pending, data, user stories. Oh, it needs to return something? Oh yeah, it needs to return status. Okay, like it just needs to be let's see. Okay. Oh, basic. There we go. It's all, I think I heard a story about like or read a story about like sporting injuries. It's like when there's like dads coming together, kind of getting out of like the family zone and just playing basketball or whatever. That's where the injuries happen. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna try running this now. And now we're gonna see if it actually updates. It calls the user stories thing. Let's actually make sure we... Okay, so now I have to fix this. This is super annoying. Why does it say item? Why is it never? This makes me annoyed. What did I change? Did I change something? You know what? We're not gonna dive into that. So this was save user stories. I'm just gonna see it actually calling the thing. Saving user stories. Okay, let's try again. Oh, so you actually know how to play basketball. That's awesome. Yeah, no, the only sporting I do is walking down to the store after getting the kids to bed, buying a frozen pizza. Why isn't anything happening? What did I do? I must have done something. What did I do? Oh. Yeah, okay. So it's saved. That's good, I guess. Did I? Oh, I don't log it. For backend services view for front end, let's proceed with saving user stories for this task management interface. Okay, but this is kind of good, I guess. This is kind of good. I want to be able to toggle task, but how do I actually get? Okay, I can try to approve them, and they should pop up in the side thingy there. To toggle the completed state of a task. Look at me writing like an engineer. Okay, so now I'm curious. Oh, don't they pop up? Dag nugget. How do I? Okay, let me just log the. Let's do this simple, and I'm just gonna log the user stories that we're saving. Saving user stories. Maybe we're back to it. Like this was my original approach, using function calling to store state, and it makes sense. But yeah, it's like it's more involved. Yeah, and this is also interesting. Like now it didn't save them. Maybe we shouldn't say save. We should say save. Or we could say write. Maybe that's the name it should be. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Write user stories. Oops. Writes the user stories. We can call it to disk. It doesn't matter. Write user stories, and I can tell it to always update the user stories or always writing the user stories, so we can do that. But let's see, let's just make sure we have it all here. Let's update the I feel like we're kind of diverging. Your only goal is to create user stories. Make sure to always write the updated user stories. Okay. Bloop, bloopity bloop. So It didn't actually work. That's interesting. So we can force it to always call a certain function. Maybe, yeah, maybe that's the feature you use to persist state. So in here we can say tool choice controls which, if any, tool is called by the not call any tool. Auto is the default value, means the model can pick between generating a message or calling one or more tools. Require means the model must call one or more tools before responding to the user. So I'm gonna hard code this tool choice, and this would be write user stories. So this is interesting because what this could be is just from our abstraction. This could be you could just give a JSON schema for state, and then we generate a function that writes that state, and it will always call that function. That's interesting. I didn't think of that. But I wouldn't imagine it's expensive to do that. Did it actually? Okay, nice. So it did actually do that. So what if I say I also want to toggle a task being completed? Yeah, exactly. And now it doesn't do that. So, got dag nagit. And also now it doesn't call the other function. It's like it feels like we have these different approaches and none of them actually gives us exactly what we want. So, but maybe that's fine. Maybe because I've stated many times, I don't think natural language is necessarily a good way to do input. It's a very good way to do output, but not to do input. Or it's a difference. Like the initial input can be natural language. That kind of triggers a flow. But now, so for example, go ahead and start with an idea. But now you kind of want to have a more structured approach to it. You don't want to like have this conversation back and forward and see the user stories update. I would argue you rather want to go in and just fix them. Maybe. Or maybe you want both. I don't know. How should we do this? And just this, like it's so unpredictable. What it doesn't understand this app. It's like it's so unpredictable. Yeah, okay. So I want to say I definitely want to favor the JSON approach we have. The thing that annoys me is that we don't it's not able to use its context to figure out how to keep things up to date. We have to explicitly tell it, these are my current user stories, this is my prompt, which I guess it's fine, but it was just not expected. I would expect it when it has returned a JSON of user stories and I ask it to like toggle a task being completed, that it would actually consider that previously returned result, but it doesn't do that. But it does that in natural, like if the response is just its output, its normal output, it does consider that. But what's interesting here, it's also maybe that's a bad assumption. So instead of Yeah, this is interesting. So let's go back to the, let's drop this. Let's go back to the JSON. And then what we're going to do is, we're going to just allow it to do that thing. To just update one. So we're going to use the context to, yeah, we're going to try something. Oh, this is going to be exciting. Let's see. Forget about this. I think that's basically it. Oh, interesting. Now it suddenly has the name there. Maybe it was just a TypeScript thing. Interesting. Okay, so now we're back at where we were. And I'm not going to pass, let's see, user stories. We're not gonna, yeah, so we're just gonna use input. Yeah, so we're back at using JSON response, but we are, oh, we need to do more. Workspace. We need to do this. I think we have another one. I think that's here. Yeah. So we're gonna allow it to have different JSON responses. The JSON response is just the user stories it suggests. And then we're gonna ask it to summarize all the user stories. That's gonna be interesting. Great. So now I want to adjust this. I want to also toggle the completed state of a task. So now it should only write out that. Oh, now it did. Okay, fine. Now it, of course, now it did it. Why did it do it? I did also change the instructions. Is that why it suddenly did it, or was it just random? Oh, maybe this was it. To always return, yeah, right, or return the updated user stories. That's interesting. Okay, maybe that's all we needed. Okay, that's actually great. I also want to toggle the completed state of a task. There we go. So how many tokens are we at? We're at 2,500. We have 16,000 tokens. So could you summarize all the user stories? Again, just to see what it does. Exactly. Okay, this is interesting. So, yes, this is what I was hoping for. So, what we need to do is what kind of happens now is that the state of the user stories or whatever like JSON we produce is kind of across the context window. So it knows about all of them. It's just that it returns. It does not necessarily return all of them. But maybe we could do that so it more reliably. So we could probably do that. Return. Make sure to always return all the user stories. And then we can be even more explicit, all user stories. And then all user stories. So I can decide, like, do I want it to incrementally suggest something and then I ask it to summarize when I approve? Or do I prompt it to like always give me the like the updated result? And I think that's fine. Like that's, you would expect having to make that decision. Oh fuck, what happened? What the hell happened? Reading map? Oh, I have. Did I? Oh, completed. Oh, it says user stories. Didn't I change it? Oh, wait. Oh, wait a minute. It didn't save. What did I do? Oh, come on. I have an error. Why does it say? Oh, didn't I save it? Or what the hell? All user stories. Oh, I didn't save it. For God's sake. That's an interesting thing about. Oh no, we have suddenly that issue again. Oh, come on. God damn it. This is an issue with. Yeah, I have to delete YarnDoc and my node modules. I have a meeting soon. Yarn install. Where was I? Yeah, that like the TypeScript language server doesn't actually care about the file being saved or not. It will change the, like it's an in-memory thing. Because when you change some code, you actually send to the language server, and that makes sense. But now I had like a false positive. Because it said everything was okay, but the file wasn't actually saved. That's interesting. Now I should be able to watch again, hopefully. Or we'll get stuck debugging that forever. Okay, thank you. What we're going to test. Oh yeah, if it actually... Wait, what happened now? Oh, it updated... Oh my god. It updated the version of Impact React. I want it to be this specific version. I'm not in the mood to actually refactor that at the moment. Oh, no. I can't believe this. I have no idea what this is. It's something very annoying. Let's see. And yeah, I want to be able to toggle the completed state of tasks. Yeah, now it just shows that. That kind of sucks. That actually sucks quite a bit. But we are trying to conclude that this is a prompting issue. I can enforce it probably. So your only goal is to create user stories. Yeah, that was kind of related to the other stuff. So you can remove that because now we don't have to set the goals or anything because we're controlling everything through JSON. But we can do some internal prompt engineering here. So we're going to say this is the input. Always return the full list of user stories, of updated user stories. It would be sad to remove our JSON. I'm gonna say it now. I feel we can't jinx it. Our very reliable JSON response. I want to be able to toggle tasks completed. That sucks. Why doesn't it oh, I'm not watching. So it wasn't rebuilding. Let's try again. Yeah, that's interesting because the instructions are only added at the beginning of the context or the thread. It's not like injected, but now this be able to toggle a task completed. But what I'm doing now, god damn it, it didn't freaking work. Like, do I really have to insert all the? Why can't I? Always return always return all user stories with their updated descriptions. I want to be able to toggle a task completed. This is very interesting, but if I ask it now, please summarize all user stories. It does it. Oh, it doesn't do it reliably. Delete tasks from the list. Oh, it. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. I want to be able to view. Okay, so now it. Okay. This is. This is very weird. Like, the reason I'm playing around with this is like I want reliability. That's all I want. Initially I had like state here so that it would always include the current state before it produces new state. But now we made it stateless, so now you just define JSON and that's the return result. But then if you want to return a new result based on the previous result, it seems like you have to explicitly give it the current state, which sucks. I hoped it would understand that, just having the context, but it doesn't understand that. And that frustrates me. But I wonder, like, they made changes to, I haven't actually read the documentation for additional message. What's the see incomplete details? Yeah, top P. Yeah. Okay, but let's see. Do I get a reliable result if I actually pass in? So the question is really, do we need this input to take? Do we want to type this input? That's basically what I'm saying. User stories. So again, if input user stories dot length, return input dot yeah, with the following user stories. Oh my god. Input dot user stories map user story. User story. What I'm also very curious about all of this is if I'm happy with this flow, will this work for the other flows? Or will it just be like I have to go through all these iterations for everything, and then it kind of loses its purpose, I think. Let's see, workspace. Oh yeah, now I need to put back the prompt agent. Input. You're not happy? Oh. And now all the way up here. Let's see if it does it now. If it does it now, it's like fine, but then I don't need necessarily the context window. What does the context window do? I would like to be able to toggle a task completed. So now it does what I expected it to, which is fine. But why do I need that? So for example, oh, I changed mine. Do not include that. Like, will it now be able to just remove it? Yeah, okay. So what we use the thread for is really to have but it's like, I feel like it's a high cost for very little value, I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure. Where did we end up now? Like, where the hell did we go with this? Oh, sorry, I have to go to a meeting. We'll talk later. Bye.